Good evening, folks. This is Ron Tyler with the Emergency Management Associates. Getting the earth is located around 3.5 miles southeast of the Earth now. The solar wind is also
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you might be around the world. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates, coming to you from North Carolina, 492 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to tell you hi, hello, and happy Cinco de Mayo. This is a day of celebration. A lot of people mistake what Cinco de Mayo means, and I'm going to talk just a little bit about it tonight. Cinco de Mayo marks Mexico's against all odds victory against invading French troops in 1862. But to some Americans, it's simply Cinco del Drinko, an excuse to party with little or no understanding of what the Mexican holiday really celebrates. Many who think that they know what Cinco de Mayo is about wrongly assume it's Mexico's Independence Day. I don't think so. It's not. Everyone thinks that it's just a party time. It's Corona time, said Mario Garcia, a Chicano historian from the University of California at Santa Barbara. It's okay for people to go out and have a good time on a holiday like Cinco de Mayo, a 3-day weekend. At least they have some sense of some kind of Mexican holiday. However, we should go beyond that. We should have Cinco de Mayo events that go beyond partying and drinking, where we call attention to what the real history is. What does Cinco de Mayo celebrate? Mexican Independence Day, or Dia de la Independencia, came on September 16, 1810, when the country broke free of Spanish rule. Cinco de Mayo came more than 50 years later when French Emperor Napoleon III wanted to claim Mexico for himself. The French sent troops to force Mexico's President Benito Juarez and the government out of Veracruz. On May 5th, 1862, in a small town in east central Mexico called Puebla, 2,000 Mexican soldiers faced 6,000 French troops at daybreak. Mexico claimed victory by the evening, and Juarez declared May 5th the national holiday. Thus, Cinco de Mayo. Part of the confusion among many Americans about what Cinco de Mayo celebrates is likely because it's much a catchier sounding and easier for English speakers to say than the Day of Mexicans' Independence, 16 de Septiembre. The battle also played a role in the American Civil War. With the French defeated and leaving North America, the Confederacy wasn't able to use them as an ally to win the war. A huge problem is not enough, but American classrooms teaching the importance of Chicano history and the people's contributions to the celebration. That's what really needs to happen. That's what really needs to happen. Now, folks, we can celebrate Cinco de Mayo any way we want, but that's not the entire point. That's absolutely not the entire point that we're talking about this evening. This goes far deeper than that. A huge problem is not enough American classrooms teach the importance of what Cinco de Mayo means. There are hundreds, if not hundreds of thousands of Hispanic people here in the United States, most of them from Mexico. However, the people's contributions to the United States is up and above that. The event doesn't compare to the celebrations of Dia de la Independencia in Mexico. Meanwhile, in the United States, Cinco de Mayo has become an annual celebration of Mexican-American culture, with even the Mexican people dancing, singing, and celebrating with us. We welcome everybody here that has anything to do with the celebration of Cinco de Mayo. A lot of us love this holiday. I grew to accept it and love it in San Diego, except when I had to work it. It was not a good time to work on Mexican Cinco de Mayo. Okay? But I will celebrate with all of you Cinco de Mayo. It's a beautiful day, and I swear I've had a lot of fun. Although I don't drink. I have never drank. So guys, celebrate. Have a little drink for me. Presently, I'm drinking water. Cinco de Mayo, everybody. Happy celebration. It's been a beautiful day today. Now, I'm going to break from that and tell you I spent the good part of the afternoon over in Hickory, North Carolina. It has nothing to do with this program, however. I spent a good deal of time this afternoon at my doctor's office. I have not yet heard anything as to the results of blood tests and also lab results that they conducted today. I did, however, get a very painful shot in the abdomen. I was expecting that. I got it in September last year. I got another one now, and it was not fun. It was very painful. But I spent the good share of the afternoon over there speaking with my doctor and going into the lab, and then having one of the nurses hurt me. Shall I cry? Big crocodile tears, Ron. No, I'm not going to cry. I'm having enough watershed from from hot flashes. From hot flashes, guys. It's been a day and a half with hot flashes. Now there's something else that I need to talk about tonight, and we will talk about it even more throughout the night. Okay? That is Fuego Volcano, or what they call El Fuego in Guatemala. El Fuego exploded yesterday. Guatemalan authorities evacuated more than 1,000 people and closed the road as Central America's most active volcano erupted yesterday, spewing thick clouds of ash over farms and towns not far from the capital city. Civil protection official Oscar Cosillo said 1,054 people had been evacuated from 5 communities near the foot of the volcano, and they have moved them all to a sports hall for shelter. And people are invited, if they get away from the volcano, they are invited to that sports hall, to that shelter. Mr. Cosillo said the number of over 1,000 people was likely to rise as a full accounting of the evacuees is being carried out. Guatemala's Conrad Disaster Center said the volcano named El Fuego, Spanish for fire, was sending out pyroclastic flows, a high-temperature mix of gas, ash, and rock fragments, which descended the mountain with great speed down the flanks of the volcanic complex. The ash column ejected by Fuego volcano reached some 19,000 plus feet high above sea level, flight level 190, above sea level. Last month, concerns about an ash cloud from a volcanic eruption at Shiveluch volcano over in Kamchatka, Russia, on the Kamchatka Peninsula, forced Alaska Airlines to cancel some flights to and from Alaska. Ash was falling to the west and southwest of this volcano, in a direction away from the capital city of Guatemala City, which is 22 miles to the northeast. 22 miles to the northeast of the volcano. Stronger emissions could follow as the high level of eruption continues, and it is warned that with rainfall forecasts, mudslides could happen. Okay? Mudslides are already happening. Now, folks, I just noticed something, and I'm going to refresh my picture here, and I finally have chat here. For some reason, chat was not first visible a few minutes ago, but I do have chat here, and I welcome everybody here that is monitoring this program tonight to monitor the chat and also participate. If you have any questions tonight, feel free to ask them after I've completed my presentation. I want to answer any and all questions that you might have. Now, getting back to Fuego volcano. Conrad official Rodolfo Garcia estimated some 130,000 people that live within areas of falling ash, which came down as far as 62 miles from the crater. He said 13 emergency shelters had been opened up in 4 nearby towns, capable of providing refuge to 7,600 people. The authorities opted to close the route there, RN14, on the slopes of the volcano that connects several towns to the colonial city of Antigua, the country's main tourist attraction and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It advised that those living in areas of risk of the ash cloud to be carefully considering following any and all instructions from the authorities. It was also urging locals and tourists to avoid a restricted area of 7 kilometers around the volcano. 7 kilometers is approximately 3 miles. Residents should cover water tanks to avoid contamination. Many people in that area have 50-gallon water containers, 50-gallon barrels that they have full of rainwater that they collect. You need to protect those water sources. If you aim to drink that, you need to cover it. And you should have covered it immediately, because that volcanic ash doesn't wait for anybody. It falls and contaminates everything that it hits. Residents should cover their water tanks to avoid contamination. You also should think about covering your face so as not to breathe in the ash. And when you are also cleaning the fallen debris from your roofs of your homes or your cars, make sure you're wearing something over your face so you do not inhale that ash that's going to be swept off your roof or off your car. And there's still going to be falling ash for quite some time. You need to do that to prevent damage to your roofs and to your cars. Why? Folks, we've already heard that there's a very good chance of rainfall in that region. And if that's the case, if that rain does come and it settles into that ash could act like concrete, and that ash becomes even heavier and it will collapse roofs. We saw that with the volcano Cumbre de Vieja on La Palma Island in the Canary Islands. You also should be concerned about your pets, your children. Make sure you are also protecting their mouths, their noses. Okay? Now, if you have the potential to survive with the evacuation, make sure that you have prepared a survival kit. Make sure you have prepared an evacuation survival kit to ready yourselves and your pets in case you have to evacuate. Transit police in the area around Guatemala City, Antigua, and other places have released photos showing automobiles and motorcycles stopped along highways to avoid getting bogged down in the fallen ash on the roadway. Last December, an eruption of lava and ash by that same volcano, Fuego volcano, forced Guatemalan authorities to temporarily close the largest airport in Guatemala. The volcano Fuego is over 12,345 feet tall, and it erupts on the average of 4 to 5 years. Lately, it's been a lot more than that. It erupted last year, and I believe it erupted twice last year. In 2018, an eruption sent rivers of lava pouring down its sides, devastating the village of San Miguel Los Lotes. It killed 215 people and left a similar number missing. Guatemala has 2 other active volcanoes that we've talked about: San Dieguito, west of the country, and Pacaya in the south. Now, with that said, everybody needs to be aware of what this volcano can do. We've seen it happen when other volcanoes have erupted. We've seen it happen when Shibalush erupted on the Kamchatka Peninsula. It sent heavy clouds of ash some 45,000 feet into the atmosphere. This went up to 19,000 feet and is still going. So everybody needs to be aware of that. Fortunately, this ash from Fuego volcano is going in a northeasterly direction, meaning it's going to go probably out into the Caribbean, and the winds in the Caribbean and in the Gulf of Mexico will probably take it out over the Atlantic Ocean. That's what they hope. That is exactly what they hope is going to happen. So folks, if you're down in Central America or even over in southern Mexico, you need to be aware of this, because this volcano is not the only one that is erupting. Okay? I want to make that perfectly clear. This is not the only volcano that is erupting. There's others. There's some 48 different volcanoes. Not all of them are erupting ash and lava. I'm going to explain about some of the volcanoes that are presently erupting. I want everybody to please pay close attention to this. Okay? Again, Fuego volcano in Guatemala. It had a volcanic ash plume that was estimated to be going up to 16,000 feet yesterday, 4,900 meters. Okay? Flight level 160. Now I've understood from somebody that called me, it's up to 19,000 feet. Flight level 190. Okay? And the explosive activity continues. They had a volcanic ash plume that rose up to 24,000 feet, 7,300 meters high, flight level 240, and it's moving in a northeasterly direction at 20 knots. Over in Colombia, in fact, no, I'm just going to stay here. You see the red triangle up in northern Colombia? Nevado del Ruiz in Colombia. Explosive activity continues today. A volcanic ash plume rose up to 19,000 feet high, 5,800 meters high, flight level 190. Over in Ecuador, south of Colombia, along the coast. Well, it's not necessarily right near the coast, it's more eastward from the coast. But Sangay Volcano and Reventador Volcano have both been erupting. Sangay Volcano has an ash plume that rose up to 19,000 feet high, 5,800 meters high. Reventador has pretty much the same. Now we drop down to southern Peru. Southern Peru has a volcano. We've got several volcanoes, but the only one that's erupting right now is Sabancaya. Sabancaya erupted up to 26,000 feet high. 26,000 feet high. 7,900 meters high. Flight level 260. The ash plume, as well as the volcanic gas plume, is moving in an area 10 knots away from the volcano in a northerly direction. Everyone should also be aware of Sabancaya too. Sabancaya has been erupting off and on for a very, very long time, as long as I've been on the air. So everybody needs to pay attention to these two volcanoes, especially. Now, Popocatépetl in southern Mexico has been erupting. Popocatépetl has been erupting up to 16,000 feet high. And I don't think the Mexican people are necessarily celebrating Popocatépetl. It's been erupting quite a bit lately, almost every day, in fact. So, folks, you need to be aware of this, okay? You really need to be aware of what's going on around you, okay? Please be aware of it, especially if you have a volcano nearby you. Hot temperature mix of gas, ash, and rock fragments descend with great speed down the flanks of the volcanoes. A pyroclastic flow, not just of lava, but of rock, debris, trees, all kinds of lava rock, great big huge lava bombs flowing down the mountain. And because this mountain and others are very steep, it doesn't take long to totally knock someone off their feet and burn them beyond recognition or cover their bodies in hot lava. Stay away from it. If you see this happening, run. Run. Make sure you take every care to try to make sure you are safe. But get the heck out of the area. Don't put yourself in a position where you don't want to be. Okay? We have a lot of volcanoes that are erupting. A lot. But you need to know what is going on around you. Keep your head on a swivel. Okay? Keep your head on a swivel. This is not fun. This is not fun at all. Okay? I've got a picture that I'll share with you probably either tomorrow or Monday that shows houses coated in ash there in Guatemala. And it shows great big huge billows of steam and ash engulfing the communities, the roadway, the cars, the trees, all the vegetation. Okay? Please understand this. Do what you can to take care of yourselves. Get out of there. Don't get near it. Please do not get near it. Now, I'm going to leave the tale of volcanoes alone right now. Okay? One of the things I want you to see is this. Okay? Let me take these down. I'm going to put up another picture that you all need to know about. Okay? I'm going down to the Pacific Ocean. I'm going down to the Pacific Ocean a long distance away from Guatemala. Okay? As you can see in this picture, you see Sabancaya volcano here. This is the USGS version of it. I showed it to you on the Google Earth version. Just off the coast of Guatemala today, we had an earthquake. They say it's off the coast of Chiapas, Mexico. This is just south of Chiapas. This is a 4.5 magnitude earthquake. It's 10 kilometers deep, 6.2 miles deep. Now I'm going to go across the Pacific Ocean here. Okay? I'm going to go over here to the western side of Honshu Island. Honshu Island in Japan. The USGS has put this earthquake as a 6.2. As a 6.2. Notice how close to shore that this earthquake is. Now, I'm also going to tell you something else. Just a second. Let me put this. Maybe I haven't put this picture up yet. Let me put this picture up for you. I think it's very significant. I've done a lot of research today, guys. This is very significant. Let me move it over here, and I'm going to enlarge it for you. Okay? I want you to see this. Okay? Notice where it says 6.2. Magnitude 6.2 earthquake. It shows 26 stations reporting, but it does not announce any details. It does not announce any details of that 6.2 earthquake. We look below that, it says 6.4. There's a reason that I put this information down. This is on the seismologist back study page on USGS. That's how you can find it. You go over to the seismologist study page. When you open it up, you click on origins. Click on the word origins. When that comes up, when you click on that, you come with this page here. It'll show you how strong the earthquakes really are. When you see a rating, even if it agrees with what they said it was, move over to the right. Look under stations reporting. In this case, that 6.2 says 26 stations reporting, but it shows no details. Okay? Under the 6.4 earthquake, it shows 593 stations reporting. And then it says in blue, station details. You can click on that hyperlink and you'll come to find out there's over 600 different stations reporting this earthquake. The largest size of earthquake that they reported was a 6.79, a 6.80 magnitude earthquake, but only one station reported that. Only one station reported that. Now the problem is this. This was not a 6.2 earthquake. I've gone through all kinds of data today to verify this. This earthquake happened earlier today. early this morning, very early this morning. UTC. A 6.2 earthquake. This is not more than 1,000 feet from shore. Not more than 1,000 feet from shore. Let me show you something else here. Let's zoom in here. Okay? See where that earthquake is? We haven't gone far enough, I don't think. Look at that. I'm sorry, this is 4,000 feet. This is 4,000 feet from land. Okay? Notice that there are people that live near that ocean, near the Sea of Japan. So this was not even 3/4 of a mile from the people here on this island in Japan. You can see the farmer fields. Most of those are rice paddies that the Japanese people are raising. Okay? You can see their homes, their buildings. You can't see close enough to shore to see beaches, but yes, there are beaches there, and there may even be people at those beaches. But that's how close this earthquake was. 4,000 feet, less than 1 mile away from shore. Less than 1 mile away from shore. This is only 2 kilometers away from those people. This was a terrifically strong earthquake. Okay? 6.0 to 6.9 are considered to be very strong earthquakes. This was a 6.4, not a 6.2. There's been other earthquakes here as well. This one here that's far enough here away from shore. This one is probably 20 miles inland. This is a 5.6. So we had a 6.4 off the coast. This is a 5.6 on land. And there's plenty of people that felt it. There are plenty of people that felt it. This 6.4 magnitude earthquake had not more than 20 people that felt that earthquake. But this 5.6 is a completely different story. This is in the wooded area, not more than 20 miles inland, but this was a 5.6 large earthquake. Okay? 5.6 to 5.9 is considered to be very large. It can also be very deadly. Okay? You can see villages here, right there, just east of that earthquake. Okay? More right here. Okay? And more further west right here. That 5.6 earthquake terrified a lot of people. Okay? It's unreal, guys. It's unreal. Then we have another earthquake further north. This was a moderate 4.6. A moderate 4.6. This, folks, was 51 kilometers east-northeast of Amanazu, Japan. ANAMIZU, Japan. A 4.6 earthquake in the ocean. The ocean waters absorbed this earthquake. The ocean waters absorbed the shaking of this earthquake. Okay? They did. Okay? But this is not good news for the people there on Japan. And I don't care what EMSC, I don't care what USGS says, because I think they have the numbers wrong. 15, 16 people feeling these earthquakes. It's far stronger than that. There's a lot more people there. Richard Smith in the chat says a 4.5 over in Tonga. That 4.5 hardly anybody felt because the ocean water absorbed the shock waves. Okay? But this isn't all over in Japan, guys. Over here off the northeastern shores of Honshu, we have another 4.7. It's right along the coast area, immediately on the coast of Japan. This is 61 kilometers deep. This is 2 miles south-southeast of Yamata, Japan. 2 miles south-southeast of Yamata, Japan, right there. Okay? But folks, there's also people right next to it, right here. This is a 4.7 magnitude earthquake, a moderate earthquake. As we've explained, 4.0 to 4.9 are considered to be moderate earthquakes. Moderate earthquakes can knock things off of shelves. They can make anything on the walls vibrate and fall off the walls. They can move furniture. Not too much other damage unless the country itself is a country that is not up to speed with earthquakes and has no protection. Then it could be a very dangerous quake because it could level the unprotected civilians, the unprotected people. Unreinforced masonry falls, even with a 4.5, 4.6 earthquake. This was a 4.7. Okay? But it was near towns here. People felt this. People felt this. I don't think it did much damage. Moderate earthquakes usually don't. But there's another earthquake over here in Japan. Okay? It's off the coast of Hokkaido. Off the east coast of Hokkaido. Northeast coast of Hokkaido. It's another moderate earthquake. It's a 4.5. Ocean waters of the Pacific absorbed the shock waves of this quake. It was 35 kilometers deep. Okay? 45 kilometers deep. There's something else that you should know over here north of there. Just south of Kamchatka Peninsula, and we've talked about this before. There's another volcano here, right here. This is Ebico Volcano. They don't much talk about Ebico Volcano, but if USGS or Volcano Discovery finds out it's erupted, usually it's erupted up to 10,000 feet high, and it has erupted. Okay? Ebico Volcano over here in the Kuril Islands. In the Kuril Islands. Something else that's happened over here as well. Okay? This is in the Aleutian Islands. This is Attu Station. This is another 4.0 magnitude earthquake here. Okay? These Attu Station people only may have a handful of people at this location. Okay? This is usually an Air Force station here, with just a very few people monitoring communications, basically, here at Attu Station. Okay? Further east, okay? Just minor earthquakes and tremors here. This one happens to be at 2.8 near Atka, Alaska. It's nowhere near Atka, Alaska. It's actually 90 kilometers east-southeast of Adak, Alaska. Okay? But there's also 2 other minor microquakes over here that we can show you. Further east here. This is something else that I want to show you. This is off of the peninsula of Alaska. This is still Unimak, U-N-I-M-A-K Island. Okay? This is south of Unimak Island in Alaska. This is also a 4.6 magnitude quake here in the Aleutian Island area. It also has an aftershock here of a 1.7, no, a 3.7. A 3.7 here, and it's 16 kilometers deep. It's here in the Aleutian Island chain, guys. Now, this is just a sampling of what's going to happen once the seismic energy goes north. As you can see over here by Anchorage, you can see all these minor tremors and minor earthquakes. Okay? Minor earthquakes. For example, this. This is a just barely a 3.0 small earthquake. This is at Fish Hook, Alaska. It's north of Anchorage. Okay? Anchorage is over here. This is where Anchorage is. Right here I'm going to reveal another event here. This is Point McKenzie, Alaska, a 1.2 tremor. I'm going to pick out one or two more locations for you to show you what's going on. Okay? Let's go over on the north side of Denali National Park. This is a 1.5. Again, this 1.5 tremor is not easily recognized apparently by the agency, the USGS, because they say it's east-southeast of Denali. Really? Really? East-southeast of Denali. Let me point this out. Look at that, guys. 64 kilometers east-southeast of Denali. Where is this earthquake anyway? It's north. It's on the northwestern edge of Denali National Park. It's not east-southeast of anywhere. USGS still can't get its directions straight. They're about as worthless as, I'm not even going to say. I'm tired of talking about them. Over here, up here in northwestern Alaska, this is a 2.1 magnitude earthquake. This is in the Arctic Circle area. Up here in the Arctic Circle, the tundra area of northwestern Alaska. Just yesterday, over here off the coast of northwestern Alaska, almost directly west of here, we had a 4.5 magnitude earthquake out here in the waters of the Bering Sea. Out here in the waters of the Bering Sea. Okay, today over here on land we have a 2.1. This is up here again in the Arctic Circle area. Okay, we have some earthquakes in central Alaska right here. If they'll let me illuminate them right here. This is Stevens Village. It's a 1.5 tremor. This is central Alaska. Central Alaska. Occasionally they try to say, oh, this is northern Alaska. No, it's not. This is central Alaska. Okay? Just so you know what's happening. We go southeast over here. Okay? There's a reason I'm going here. I hope you guys are following along. Okay? This is a lot of information here. Okay? What are we showing here again? This is Mount Rainier, isn't it? This is a 0.4 microquake here at Mount Rainier. Remember yesterday we showed you some pictures, some seismograms? Guess what? There's a lot more there than a 0.4 microquake. Okay? Again, they don't want to be truthful about anything. Just barely northwest of Rainier here, we have another 0.1 microquake. They say this is 17 kilometers north-northeast. North-northeast, ladies and gentlemen, of Ashford, Washington. Sorry guys, that does not compute. Ashford, Washington is over here, guys. Sorry. It doesn't compute USGS. Okay? It doesn't compute. This is west of Mount Rainier, a volcano. And that's how you should be reporting it. Okay? This one right down the throat of Mount Rainier is reported to be east-northeast of Ashford, Washington as well. They're not reporting it as at a volcano. But there's tremors and earthquakes at Mount Rainier. They're not showing them. They're not showing anything at St. Helens. They're not showing anything at Mount Adams. And, folks, there's someplace else that I want to show you here. Okay? Okay? This, folks, is Mount Hood. They're not showing any earthquakes at all. No tremors, no nothing at Mount Hood. There's other volcanoes over here as well. There's Sisters Volcano. There's Bachelor Volcano. There's Belknap Crater. All sorts of things. Newberry Crater. Newberry Volcano. They're not showing anything. They're not showing anything down south central Oregon over at another volcano. Crater Lake. Crater Lake volcano, not showing anything. Yet there's plenty of tremors and earthquakes happening there as well. Okay? However, if we want to go over here to the southeast, okay? This is eastern Oregon. This is a 0.1 microquake in eastern Oregon. Well, how about that? They haven't labeled this southeast Oregon or anything. They just labeled it Oregon. They can't get their directions right, can they? Heaven forbid. Okay? We drop into Northern California. This is Dunsmuir, California. We've had 4.5s, even up to 5.5 earthquakes here in Dunsmuir, California, back in the 70s and 80s. There's nothing here. It's a 2.5 minor earthquake. 2.5 minor earthquake today. Okay? You can see what's going on here. These red earthquakes here, guess what this is? This is the geysers. This is the geysers. This is a geothermal area, guys, where man has drilled into this lake. This northern magma chamber, or not northern, but the upper magma chambers of Crater Lake to obtain steam. It's a volcano. They've drilled into the upper magma chambers of the Clear Lake volcano to get steam to power turbines here to generate electricity for Pacific Gas and Electric and Rocky Mountain Power and 2 or 3 other conglomerates, energy conglomerates over here. This also happens to be Sonoma County. Sonoma County, California, where we have fires every year. In the past, because Pacific Gas and Electric hasn't done its job, some electrical wiring here in the geysers that has not been updated is allegedly responsible for starting fires here in the geysers area, Sonoma County. You can see an earthquake in red here. The one I just showed you was in red as well. This one is a 1.7. This is a 1.3. So we have 2 tremors here just now that just barely happened. Usually we see anywhere from 25 to 30 earthquakes here. I believe we have close to that today right here. Okay? There's other earthquakes and tremors all up and down the coast. We've talked about this before. Right here, over here near the entrance to San Francisco Bay, out here in the ocean, just west of the entrance of San Francisco Bay, we have a 1.2 magnitude tremor. This is just barely off the coast of Muir Woods. Muir Woods. Muir Woods here, guys, I'll zoom into it so you can see it. Muir Woods here, it has tons and tons and tons of redwood trees. A huge redwood forest. It's a tourist trap where people go to walk on paths around the redwoods. Okay, I've been there. Okay, yes, earthquakes do happen here, but this earthquake today, just offshore of Muir Woods. Okay, this is a 1.2 tremor, just off the coast from the entrance to San Francisco Bay. Okay, just so you know. Over here on the eastern side of San Francisco Bay, this is Black Hawk, California. This is a 1.6 tremor. This, folks, also is on an earthquake fault, the Calaveras Fault. Go figure. One of the most dangerous fault systems in California. A 1.6 tremor. Okay? And Black Hawk, California has had numerous tremors here in the past, I want to say 72 hours. So we're going to watch that. Further south here, we talked about that one earthquake just off the coast of the entrance to San Francisco Bay. It was on the San Andreas Fault. This one here, just south of San Francisco Bay. This is Loyola, California. We've had numerous tremors here as well. Today, 1.0. Further south. Okay, yes, we do have some earthquakes on the San Andreas Fault. But this next one I'm going to show you, guess where it's at? It's east of Monterey Bay, California. This is in Hollister. We've had numerous earthquakes here in the Hollister area. We've had some very large earthquakes here. We've had a lot of tremors here lately. A lot. This is a 1.4 magnitude tremor in Hollister, California. Further south, on the San Andreas Fault, this is New Ydra, California. This is also 1.4 on the fault. We've had several tremors here as well. Now we go down to the Oceana Fault, west. On the Oceana Fault, guess where this is? Sage Pup and his girl took a vacation here. Our buddy Sage Pup, one of my best friends. San Simeon, California. We've had numerous earthquakes and tremors here recently. This is a 1.3. I believe when it was either right before or right after Sage Pup and his girl were here at San Simeon, they had a 5.1 earthquake here. San Simeon, California. This is just northeast of San Simeon. Okay, this is also 6.2 kilometers deep. Not bad, huh? Not bad. Let's continue here. Okay. Let's go down here to the Garlock Fault. Okay. Why am I going down here? Because this supposed quarry blast right here. This is right on the junction of the Garlock Fault and the San Andreas Fault. Literally right at the junction of the Garlock and the San Andreas. And you can see it here. You can actually see the San Andreas Fault here. You can see the Garlock Fault running northeast here. Okay? They say this is a 1.2 quarry blast, 1.25 miles deep. Folks, they do not drill that deep for a frickin' quarry blast. And I'm sorry, it's a half mile deep. They don't even drill that deep for a quarry blast, a half mile deep. That's 2,500 feet deep. They don't do that. This is in the mountains above two quarries here that you see. Look at that. It's up in the mountains from these quarries. I do not think this was a quarry blast. This is a 1.2 tremor on the Garlock Fault. The Garlock Fault, you can see it. you can see the fault. And it goes northeast here. Where do you think it goes? Where, oh, where does the Garlock Fault go? Oh, where can it be? Where it shakes and creaks and causes all sorts of harm. Oh, where can the Garlock Fault be? Yeah, I'm making fun of it, guys. Because guess what? Earlier today, there were earthquakes and tremors here. All over this area. Ridge, Crest, Searles Valley. They've taken them down. They've taken all the tremors and everything down here. Except this. I just found this. Look at that. Such a deal. I just got through telling you that there was nothing here. Guess what there is? It's a surface quake. A 0.0 surface quake here. But, folks, guess what? There's no way in heck that they can label this a surface quake. It is 2 miles deep. 4.4 kilometers deep. It's 2 miles deep. Okay? There's no way in heck that that is a surface quake. No way. Okay? Just no cotton picking way. This whole area here of the Mojave Desert, there's only this one earthquake here in Shoshone, California. And it's not a 0.0 earthquake as they say it is. It's just not. Now we go over just southeast of Mammoth, southeast of Long Valley. What do we have here? You can see them here. This is Dyer, Nevada. D-Y-E-R, Nevada. It's a 0.7. Northeast from there is a 1.0 in Silver Peak, Nevada. We go almost directly north from there. Guess what? We have another 2.8 minor earthquake. This time USGS has put this in just Nevada. Guess what, guys? It's not. This is in the Adobe Hills Monte Cristo Volcanic Range. The Adobe Hills Monte Cristo Volcanic Range. Okay? Don't let USGS just say Nevada or Idaho or anywhere else. They do not want to give us any data. They don't want to make any claims about anything. They don't want to show you anything, guys. They really don't want to do that. Minor Tonopah, Nevada. Minor Tonopah, Nevada. Folks, this area has tons of earthquakes. Why? Because there's magma down inside the hills here. All kinds of magma, guys. All kinds of magma. Now, let's back out of here. Okay? I just love catching USGS in one lie after another. Okay? That's all they do. That's literally all they do. But there's a couple other things we have to talk about here. Right here. This is Colville, California. Do you know where Colville, California is, everybody? Colville, California, guys, is on the Walker Lane Fault. The Walker Lane Fault. Yesterday we told you about an earthquake here on the Walker Lane Fault. Guess what? Another one today. Remember the Antelope Valley earthquake we had here? A 6.4 magnitude earthquake that made the Antelope Valley look like nothing more than an old western dust storm? That's what it was. With falling rock and everything else falling down the mountains of the Sierra Nevada here. That's what it looked like. A great big huge dust storm. The highways having rocks falling on the highways, damaging the highways till they repaired them. Removed the rocks and repaired the highways. Incredible damage there. Okay, Walker Lane Fault here. A 0.8 microquake there now. Over here at a volcano. At a volcano. Okay, what is this? This is on the rim of the Tahoe volcano, Lake Tahoe. Again, they're calling this a surface quake. This is 5.7 kilometers deep, 2.5 miles deep. It's on the rim of the Tahoe volcano, Lake Tahoe, California. Northeast of there, this is Reno, Nevada, 13 kilometers south of Reno. This is a 0.1 tremor. Very interesting. Very interesting. Let's go northwest. I want to show you this earthquake here. This is Plumas, Eureka, California. A 0.8 west-northwest of Plumas, Eureka, California. 0.8. Okay? The northern Sierras. Let's go east, northeast. Okay? This is Doyle, California. A 0.7 tremor here. 0.7. Okay? I should be calling it a tremor, right? Yeah, it's a microquake. But I believe it was a tremor. Because earlier today I saw, at least I thought I saw, it being called a 1.0 tremor. This is also west of Pyramid Lake. Pyramid Lake, another volcano here. Another volcano very similar to the Salton Sea. Very similar to the Salton Sea or the Salton Butte volcano. Mud pots and everything else here. Okay? That island, folks, is the summit of the volcano. That's the summit of the volcano. Over here on the northern shore, that's where the mud pots and the fingers. Yes, there's fingers sticking up here. Just like we have down at the Salton Sea, at the Salton Butte volcano. There's mud pots and fingers sticking up here along the shoreline. Okay? All over this area. Literally all over this area. I've gone over this whole area with a magnifying glass almost. I've been all over Google Earth with this volcano. Okay? Now, we've explained what's going to happen with this volcano, right? If we follow it straight south, literally straight south, what are we going to find? Okay? What are we going to find? We're going to run into the Salton Sea, won't we? Oh, absolutely we will. We see the San Andreas Fault over here. Yeah? One day this whole thing is going to break loose. It's going to break loose. There's going to be an inland waterway here. An inland waterway all the way from that volcano. All the way down here to the Gulf of California. An inland waterway. If you look at the Navy maps, you're going to see this same waterway. One day, at some point in history, that's going to happen. Okay? It's definitely going to happen. Now, last weekend at this time, we're having tons of earthquakes here. Over here, this is Delta, Baja California. Actually, it's not even Baja. This is northern Mexico. Okay? Northern Mexico. Let's zoom in and take a look at it. We have a 1.9 tremor over here, don't we? It's east. It's almost directly east of a volcano. Directly east of this volcano right here. Cerro Prado volcano. We've had earthquakes around here, haven't we? We explained the other day that there's a great big huge geothermal station here, just like we have at the south of the Salton Sea. a good geothermal station here that's pulling steam from the Cerro Prieto volcano to generate electricity here, all over this area here, just south of the volcano. Okay? That's what's going on here. And this earthquake down here, I don't think this one necessarily has anything to do with that volcano. It could, but I don't think so. But over here, I want to show you this. And there's a good reason for it. Okay? Look what we have here. This is a mile, a little over a mile south of Heber, California. Okay? They say it's a mile southwest of Heber, California. That's really interesting, because this is Heber, California. Okay? It's interesting, because the border area is right here. You can see the border area all the way through here, running west. You can see it here. It's very distinct. It's very distinct. Okay? That's a 1.6. Right next to it is a 1.5. Again, this is 3 kilometers, just over a mile, southwest of Heber. Interesting. Here's a 1.7. This is west-northwest of Calexico, California. We're still getting seismic activity here. I still do not believe this has much to do with the Salton Butte volcano. I just don't think so. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. There are still earthquakes over here in northeast San Diego County. This is Lake Henshaw, California. This is just northeast of Escondido, California. A 0.6 microquake at Lake Henshaw. We've had microquakes, we've had tremors, and we've actually had minor earthquakes here at Lake Henshaw. Okay? It's my old fishing spot here. Yes, folks, I've spent a great deal of time fishing at Lake Henshaw here, catching trout and bass. Wonderful time. But as of the past few years, we've been getting these microquakes and tremors and minor earthquakes all over this area. Now, why is that? Why do you think we get these earthquakes and tremors here? This happens to be the Elsinore Fault. Right on top of the Elsinore Fault here. Wonderful thing, huh? All sorts of fun. Anyway, you can see here, northeast of here, these tremors here are actually in the Anza Gap. The Anza Gap. When we see earthquakes and tremors gathering in this area, it usually means that there's going to be a larger earthquake here, and there usually is. Okay, now there's only a handful. Over here to the east, Borrego Springs. Remember me saying it was the Anza Borrego Desert State Park? Yeah, folks, that's what this is. This is a 1.2 in Borrego Springs. This is another 1.2 in Borrego Springs. Right beside it, a 0.7 microquake, Borrego Springs, California. The Anza Borrego Desert State Park. Okay? That's what's going on. Now, I'm not going to take much more of your time here, but I want to talk about two more quakes, two more earthquakes. This is in Alabama. This is in Alabama. This is a 2.4 magnitude earthquake in Alabama. Notice where it's at. This is the southern part of the eastern craton of the United States. You can see where it's at. This is on top of the craton, the mountainous areas here in Alabama. Okay? Now, while I've got this up, let me show you something. Okay? I think you'll be impressed. I think you might be impressed. At least I hope you will. Okay? Let me show you the craton. Hold on. Let me take this down. Let me take the USGS map down. This is the North American craton, guys. The North American craton. Now, this is the interesting thing about this. Okay? This is the real interesting thing about the North American craton. It moves. It's moving, the northeastern part of the craton is moving in a south-southwesterly direction. It's being pushed by the Atlantic plate. See where the ocean waters are over here on the right-hand side? That's the Atlantic Ocean, isn't it? The Atlantic plate. The Atlantic plate is pushing the craton in a south-southwesterly direction. Okay? Now let me move this over here so you can truly see what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm going to move it all the way over here. You're going to lose me. I'm going to turn me off. Okay? I'm going to turn me off. I'm showing you where this earthquake is. I'm going to completely turn me off. See the lower eastern side of the North American craton? That happens to be the eastern part of the Continental Divide. That's what you're seeing right there. That's exactly what you're seeing right here. Okay? This 2.4 earthquake is down here in the southeastern part of the craton. The mountain, the Eastern Continental Divide. That's why this earthquake hit. The Atlantic plate is pushing the craton in a south-southwesterly direction. Okay? I hope all of you get it. I hope you can understand what we're talking about. Okay? I think it's very important that we get the understanding of what we're talking about here. I think this is very important. That's why this earthquake happened. There's no other explanation for it. Okay? This is the southeastern part of the craton. A 2.4 earthquake today. It's interesting, huh? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's not going to stop, guys. We have some more here. And I'm not going to keep you long. I really am not. Over here in the center part of the New Madrid Fault. This is Marston, Missouri. Marston, Missouri in the center part of the New Madrid Fault area. Okay? Now I'm going to zoom in here because I want you to understand what is going on here. The earth moved here. This is the New Madrid Fault. Okay? 1.9 minor tremor, but I'm going to raise it up to a 2.0 minor earthquake. It's right on the edge. Marston, Missouri. Now let me take down this slide here. Okay? Why am I taking it down? Because there's something even more interesting than that. Okay? I want you to get this. I want you to get this and understand what's actually happening on the New Madrid Fault. We've been showing you for quite some time what is going on there. Earthquakes and tremors all over that area, right? That's exactly it. Right here. This is a seismogram from Marston, Missouri. Okay? Again, they're not showing anything other than tremors here. They're not showing anything other than tremors here. See this red line here? This is an increased level here. An increased level of tremor activity. The tremor activity here lasted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, on over here. At least 10 or 11 minutes. Then it went to a microquake activity. Just tiny movement over on the right hand side. This, folks, let me enlarge this so you know what's going on, when it happened. Look at what time it was. 5:15 this morning, and it actually happened before that. Okay? It happened at about 5:09 this morning. That's when the ground started moving. But it didn't move an awful lot. Nobody felt this. Nobody felt it. A 0.1 tremor to begin with. And it got just a bit large, didn't it? Okay? Then it dropped down, right? That's what happens. Okay? The tremor activity slowed down, nearly stopped. Then here on this seismogram, this is 9 a.m. this morning. No, just on the right hand side in the green, that is 9:45 over on the left hand side in the green. And if you move all the way to the right, you just barely see a tiny bit of tremor activity starting. Very, very tiny tremor, even microquake activity starting there. Then at 9 a.m. you can see it on the black line at 9 a.m. on the left hand side. You can see the tremor activity increase. This time, folks, it increased to a 1.9 tremor here. That's what we're seeing. Then it dissipated again, just like we've seen it happen before. This is Marston, Missouri. There's really nothing else to tell you about this morning. And I'm only talking about this morning. Let me show you this afternoon, after 12 noon. Look at this. The same kind of activity, but a lot less this afternoon. That black line you see there, over on the left-hand side, that's 1 p.m. So this would be about I want to say 1:14, 1:13 this afternoon. Just a tiny bit of tremor activity, that's all. 0.1, maybe 0.2, that's it. Microquakes. That's all that is. Okay? Marston, Missouri, ladies and gentlemen. USGS called it. There were tremors all over. I showed it to you. They're only telling us about a 1.9 tremor, aren't they? I just showed you what happened at Marston, Missouri today. They only want to tell us what they want us to see. They didn't tell us about any other microquakes. They didn't tell us about any other tremors. There were, but they didn't tell us about them, did they? They didn't tell us there was going to be a swarm. They just told us about one. Okay? But a lot of other things happened. Now, folks, do you have any questions for me? Okay, I've talked a lot about everything here. Yes, we caught on here just about 8 p.m. tonight. But you guys might have some questions, and I'm opening it wide open for questions. This is Emergency Preparedness Friday. So I'm opening this up to all and any questions that you might have. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. Okay. I want to show you something if I can get away with this. See that light way out in the distance here? That's the moon. We have a full moon tonight, don't we? We have a great big full moon. It's the size of a quarter out here. A great big full moon out of my eastern window here. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? We don't often get to show you that. But today we have a beautiful full moon. That is really cool. Does anybody have any questions? Lamb is Light is saying, I had one about the phone, Ron. Go ahead. Talk to me. What about the phone? NanoGaf has asked a question. I'll answer it while Lamb is Light is explaining about the phone. NanoGaf is asking about the craton and the tectonic plate. It's one and the same. Okay? The craton is the entire plate. The entire North American plate. That's what we're talking about. It's a tectonic plate. It's the North American craton, the plate. Okay? No problem. Lisa Lee says, yeah, we saw the full moon last night. This is the first time I've seen it out my window here. And it's quite visible. You can see, I believe we can see Tranquility. We can see Maris. Oh, I can't even remember what it's called. I have to get out my telescope tonight. Michael McKinney says Hollister always has a lot. Yeah, they have a lot of tremors. They've also had some large earthquakes there in the past. Okay. NanoGaf is asking, is the volcanic stream solely used to power the steam, solely used to power turbines? Pretty much. Pretty much. They may use it for heating. Some places pump the steam into great big huge heaters, and they pump it out to the public, to their homes or to military bases. Military bases up until about, oh well, gee whiz, they use steam to heat buildings at military bases, even over at Naval Station San Diego 32nd Street, and I believe also at Coronado Naval Air Station. They use steam boilers to heat bathrooms, big buildings, and heat water. Oh yeah. So it wouldn't surprise me that they may use this steam from, for example, the Salt Butte volcano over at El Centro Naval Air Station. They may. They may. Brenda Turner's asking, will the North American craton eventually cover the other two? I don't think so. I don't think so. The plates are always moving. The Pacific plate is going underneath the North American craton, and it's going like this. It's taking a deep dive into the center of the Earth. The Pacific plate. Okay? I don't think that the North American continent is going to cover much of anything. Eventually it's going to run in to the Pacific plate, and it's not going to be able to go any further, I think. That's my feeling. Okay? Richard Smith says East Coast seismicity rate has increased. Yes, it has. It's increased significantly over the past 2 years. When I moved here 2 years ago now, right before I moved here, there was a huge earthquake, a 5.1 magnitude earthquake, just 45 minutes northeast or northwest of me, at the top of the Continental Divide here. Okay? And I covered it. Maybe I'll open it up again and show you pictures. Okay? Maybe I'll open up that file and show you the pictures again. But yes, the seismicity is increasing. There are earthquakes and tremors all over the eastern Continental Divide because the Atlantic plate is pushing the North American continent in a southwesterly direction. Lisa Lee says, Lamb is asking about cell phone and where to carry it. You can carry your cell phone anywhere, okay? If there's an earthquake or any other natural disaster, high winds, hurricanes, it may knock out the cell phone towers. Now lately, it knocks out the power to the cell phone towers, but they have the cell phone towers on backup batteries. And I think they may even have solar power there. So in that case, at least the cell tower might still have power for 24, 48 hours, but I don't think it's going to last even that long. A lot of towers don't have those backup batteries. Some do, some don't. Okay? But you can carry your cell phone anywhere. Now what you might want to remember is if the power does go out, you still might be able to use your cell phones for text messaging. If you can't do a voice call, you can probably do a text message. I found that out several years ago in 2010 when I was in San Diego doing that drill. We got the power knocked out. It had nothing to do with an earthquake. It had something to do with some power guy in Arizona cutting the regional power line that cut off power to Arizona, Imperial Valley, California, San Diego, California, all over San Diego County and up into Los Angeles. Cut the power line. The regional power line was cut. We didn't have any power for over 48 hours. The power is finally restored. But yes, that happens. That happens. Okay? Lisa Lee says he's concerned about having it in his pocket. You can have your cell phones in your pocket. I personally wouldn't put it there. Why? Because your cell phones are a radio, guys. Your cell phones are nothing more than a radio. A two-way radio. And it emits power. It emits power. Okay? Yes, we have energy coming into the phone when we have somebody calling us. Or we have energy coming into the phone when we're working on the internet. But the cell phone itself is a radio. Okay? And it emits power. Small bits of power, but still power. If you put this cell phone over near the lower part of your body or here in the middle part of your body, you might get cancer. It might also affect your organs of your body, and not in a good way. It's called electromagnetic radiation, EMF. Electromagnetic radiation, EMF. I wouldn't do that. You'll never see me put my cell phone next to my body. I have put it in a holster, but that holster, on the part of the holster next to my body, has a metal plate there. Okay? It keeps my phone from emitting radiation into my body. Okay? That's the reason I have that. Now, if I had any other holster and it didn't have that protection in it, I wouldn't use it. You don't ever see me putting this up to my body. Yes, I have a Bluetooth. There's less electrical radiation emitted by this Bluetooth than I have in my phone. I checked that too. Linda Covington says lithium batteries can also be exploded. Yes, they can. If your cell phone heats up, and I've had a cell phone heat up, very hot, almost to the point you couldn't even pick it up. do not use that cell phone anymore. Get another one, because that battery's about had it, and it could explode. It could get hot and catch fire. Don't use it. Get rid of that phone. Turn it into your carrier, whatever you want to do. Don't use it. You'll never see me put a cell phone in my pocket. It's not going to happen. Not now, not ever. Okay? Lisa Lee says, thanks, Ron. Very well explained. I appreciate that. Rob52 says, that's the first time he's heard it. That's too bad. It's sad, because I thought most people knew that. Okay, they've talked about it for quite a few years now. Electromagnetic frequency radiation, EMF. Any other questions? Lama's Light says, thanks for that, I need a protector like that for my phone. Now folks, if you get a holster for your phone, you women sometimes don't have belts. And I understand that. Some of you don't want to wear pants with belts. Women don't usually. But if you do, you can carry a holster. But if your holster is not made with a metal plate in the holster, don't buy it. Or if you do buy that holster, make sure you can get a piece of aluminum or something to help shield your body from EMF from the phone. Okay? I bought that with my phone. It doesn't emit EMF through that metal on my holster. I purposely got it that way. Yes, never a dumb question. There is never a dumb question here, guys. Rob52 says, phone company's not telling us. That's exactly right. They don't want you to know that. Especially the 5G guys. The 5G is a lot worse. Remember when it was 2 or 3G phones? We thought that was fantastic. Back in the 90s, we had 2 or 3G. That's it. It was fantastic. We had cell phone coverage everywhere. At least I did, in San Diego. It was awesome. Back then I was with Sprint. I had a special deal with Sprint because I was selling Sprint PCS phones for Radio Shack. I had a part-time job at Radio Shack to help take the sting out of my child support payments. And I was selling a lot of phones in San Diego. A lot. I made a good deal of money selling cell phones at Radio Shack. Okay? But back then it wasn't bad. Now it's gotten really bad. Okay? When they upped it to 5G about a year or so ago, you're not going to ever see me put a cell phone in my pocket. Not now, not ever. Richard Smith says, I got my telescope out, going to see the moon. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I love this time of year. Beautiful clear sky. We haven't had clear skies here in a while. Richard Smith says, thank you for all you do, Ron. No, thank you guys. You guys are what motivate me to come on the air and do what I'm doing, to help you. That's why I do it. Are there any other questions here? I understand it's Friday night too. We have 98 thumbs up. I appreciate that. I really do. If you like what we're doing, if you see progress from what we're doing here on the show, please give us a thumbs up. When you tune into the show, make sure you stay for the majority of the show or all of it. Please. That helps us get YouTube to be able to let other people see it here on YouTube. If you don't stay here for very long and our watch time goes down, then YouTube's not going to let anybody see it. That's a problem with YouTube. It's part of their analytics. Okay? The amount of time that people spend watching, listening to this program. Number 2, the thumbs up. It's very important. Okay? The number of people that are also communicating in chat, that also goes into the analytical factors. So folks, don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to help each other. We can do that. If you have a question or somebody's talking about something in the chat, ask them. ask them to explain it, or ask me to explain it. And one of the mods will get hold of me, and I'll stop and explain it. I can't always look at the chat. I can't. But my mods let me know about it. Okay? And I try to go over and look at it every once in a while. Okay? Linda Covington says, my friend's house burned down due to lithium battery power tools. Oh yeah, it's bad. I would not put a charger for lithium batteries in my house. I have friends that put it in their bedroom closet. Oh no, I would never do that. Never. Yes, I power my cell phone at night on my nightstand, but I keep it away from my head. Completely away from my head. Nowhere near my head. Not going to happen. Okay? I also have a charger beside my desk, or on my desk to the side. Okay? Katrina Turner says, thank you for the time to keep us informed. That's my job. It's my job. Folks, if you want to support us, we have 2 Venmo addresses right in the very top of our program description tonight, right below this video. We also have a Venmo location where you can support us on Venmo. We also have my P.O. Box, P.O. Box 422, Valdese, North Carolina. Zip code is 28690. P.O. Box 422. I haven't had one single card in almost 2 weeks. I love cards and letters. I love cards and letters. I used to get a lot of them. I loved it. Yes, go ahead and send me cards and letters. If you have a comment, you have a question, or you want to send a card or a letter and then tuck in some checks or whatever in the middle of it, do it. I love that. I love that. A lot of people send money through the post office. I love it. I appreciate it. Okay? I've only had problems with one letter. Only one letter. So I wouldn't be afraid of sending stuff through the mail. Okay? It gets to me. Lamazalai says, Ron, just for fun, give us a couple examples to go buy if we have $50 to spend on preps. What would I buy? What would I buy? How about food? Survival food. Water. Water. You can never have enough water. I have 6 cases of water in my home at all times. If I use one, I go buy one to replace it and put it on the bottom of the pile. And yes, it's an experience for me moving cases of water down into the hallway from my closet that I keep it in. Yes, I keep it in a dark closet so it's not exposed to light. I moved the 4 or 5 cases out of there, moved the new case in, and piled the other cases on top of it. Yes, it's an experience moving all that weight, but I do it all the time. It keeps me happy. It keeps me strong. Okay? But that's one thing I do. Okay? Another, go and get yourself a AM/FM weather radio. An AM/FM weather radio. Invaluable. Invaluable. Why? It has the ability to give you emergency information during an emergency. If you have only the AM/FM radio, tune it to a talk station, a news talk radio station. Don't just listen to music during an emergency unless you have nothing better to do and you don't need any additional information. But if you need emergency information, tune your radio to a news talk station. Do the same thing with your TV, with your television stations. Tune it to a news talk station, someplace that they have news reports. Okay? You have an AM/FM weather radio. Like I do. I have 2 of them here. One of them sitting here plugged in on my desk, and it's also got battery backup, but I have this too. This is a great little tool here. Folks, this has the ability to wind it up like this to power this radio, okay, by winding it up. It also has a solar panel up here on the top. Such a deal, huh? Okay, it tunes the radio right here, and right here I have a flashlight. I also have an antenna here, okay, so I can raise up the antenna to the specific height it has, and I can tune it by going like this to pull in the right station, okay. That's the other good thing with this radio, okay. But it also has the ability to monitor the weather, and the weather channel is a good thing here on these radios, because if there is, for example, a conflict between Russia and ourselves and they start nuking the place, our radio stations will be able to give us emergency information over the weather frequencies. The weather frequencies in our area will be able to provide us with emergency information about anything, weather-wise or anything else. Okay, so this is an important radio to have. It's only $20 or $30. I've seen these radios go for as little, smaller ones, about this tall here, but smaller ones for about $12.99. You can get this anywhere for about $30, $29. Okay? You can buy this from Radio Shack. Yes, Radio Shack is online, guys. RadioShack.com. This is about $49. Okay? It's the updated version of this, but still, it's a great radio. It's a great radio. Yes, I have battery backup right here. The AA batteries here are for regular radio operation. This white battery that you see right here, that is my backup battery that I can turn that crank on my radio and power this battery. That's how that works. That's how that works. And I have plenty of batteries. I have AA, I've got AAA, I've got C's, I've got D's. I also have 9 volts for my smoke detectors. Just so you know. Some of the 9 volts, well, I have to replace batteries in my thermostat, and it requires a AA battery. And I replace that maybe once a year. Every 6 months, when we change time, I've been replacing the smoke detector batteries. Okay? Okay? Brokefish is here. Hey, Daryl, good to talk. Good to see you here. Thank you for being here. Brokefish says emergency reports are always on the weather channels. That's exactly right. Okay? Demon Cat says going back to EMF radiation, obsidian is a good conductor of it and reduces the effect on you. You're right. Obsidian, that black volcanic rock, that really beautiful shiny black volcanic rock, will protect you from EMF radiation. Okay? Volcanic glass. Thanks, Demon Cat, for that. Very astute observation. Appreciate that. Anything else? Anything else? Lama's Light says, how would you use the obsidian for what? Demon Cat just told us. It's great. Wolfman says, didn't know that. I have a few chunks of rainbow obsidian. I have snowflake obsidian. I used to have a great big huge chunk like this. It was a great big huge chunk about that large, and it was about this thin. Unfortunately, I don't have that. I'd give anything for that same rock again. That was so beautiful. Snowflake obsidian. It was great. Lama's Light says, I've got lots of obsidian here. That's great. Lama's Light just is up the road from me. That's awesome. Rob says, I guess I got to find a way to carry my cell phone around. Oh, don't put it in your pocket. And this is another thing. you women, and I see this happening a lot, especially now, when we've taken off our jackets and it's nice and warm and none of us want to wear anything heavy. Women have been putting it right here in their bras. It's not a good idea. That EMF will affect your heart. It will affect your lungs. It causes cancer. It'll cause cancer. Now, while we're talking about, Lamazli says no bra. Okay, good to know. While we're talking about EMF, let me tell you about my good mother. She passed away on September 1st, 1991. She and my father lived in a beautiful house in Poway, California, on the southern edge of Poway. And there were a bunch of high-tension power lines just to the back side of their house, above their house. Their house was also built on granite, on a huge slab of granite, and great big huge granite boulders on the back side of their house. Number one, granite contains radiation. Granite contains radiation. Those high tension power lines produce EMF, a great deal of EMF. My mother passed away from cancer. She had a grapefruit-sized tumor in her bile duct just below her liver, between her liver and gallbladder. Her doctor did not want to operate to remove the tumor. My question to him was, why not? Doctors operate and take out gallbladders all the time. My mother's doctor should have been prosecuted for wrongful death. What did he do? He ended up drilling through the tumor, drilling through that grapefruit-sized tumor, because bile was backing up into my mother's body and causing her to turn orange. Okay? Turning orangish brown. So he drilled through the tumor to rid her body of the bile. Guess what? That solved one problem and caused another. It spread the cancer and killed her. Within 6 months after he did it, she was dead. But because my parents didn't have that good of insurance, that doctor wanted to get paid. But he would rather kill my mother than do the right thing for the right reason. We believe that those EMF high-tension power lines caused the tumor. My mother's next-door neighbor had the same tumor in the same place, with the power lines over their house. EMF radiation, guys, just so you know. I think I've only told you about that story once or twice before, a couple years ago. Now I told it again here. Yes, Lamazli, it does hurt. It hurts still today. Not as bad as it did 10 years ago, not as bad as it did 20 years ago, and not as bad as it did 30 years ago when she passed away. It was hard. It was very hard. And I did my homework on that. Okay? And it's a sad thing, because at the same time, my police chief was trying to put our radio antennas. Remember what I just showed you here? Remember what I just showed you with this radio here? My police chief was trying to take off the antennas from the outside of the cars and put them in the rear part of the car, in the trunks of the vehicles, or in the case of SUVs, putting the antennas in the luggage compartment. What does that do? What does that do when your radio itself is putting out 35 watts of power. And then on top of that, in the back trunk of our cars, we had another thing that's called a linear. Another piece of electronic equipment that's called a linear. The linear would up the amperage of our radio signal. It would take that 35 watts and turn it into 1600 watts of power. From 35 watts, the linear has 1500 watts of power. So add that up to 1730 watt or 1535 watts, 1600 watts of power. So we could hit, our radios in the police cars could hit mountaintop repeaters. Inside of a car, it was harder for our radios and the antennas on our radios to hit the repeaters. But with the antennas inside the cars, guess what happened? Not only was our reception and our ability to talk to other police officers or even our dispatcher limited, but the antennas inside the car was taking those 1600 watt radio signals and bouncing them around inside a metal car. What's in the car? Human bodies, police officers, made up of 85% water. Bodies of police officers making up 85% of water. What happens? Our bodies were absorbing that 1500 watts of power, right? So the police chief was endangering our lives, and I knew that. Having been a ham radio operator for a long time, I knew that. So I was telling our officers, do not use your police radios in the cars. Do not use your radios in the cars. Use your handy-talkies. Use your handy-talkies. Okay? Use your handy-talkies. These did not emit so much power, but yet they could hit the repeaters, thus not putting our police officers in danger. Now, I fought the police chief. He threatened to fire me. I got a federal doctor. I was a federal police officer. I called and talked to a federal doctor in Texas who specialized in electromagnetic frequency radiation. He sent me a package like this, a package of documents like this. No joke. He sent them next day mail. I copied them and went in my police chief's office, and he told me to F off and get out of his office. I said, Chief, this package of papers that I laid on your desk contains all kinds of documents showing how dangerous electromagnetic frequency radiation causes and how harmful it is to police officers in those cars. He said, get the hell out of my office or I'm going to fire you. I said, go ahead, make my day. If you fire me, I'll sue the hell out of you and sue the department as well, and I'll win. Get the damn antennas out of our police cars. He goes, I'll do it when and if I get around to it. I said, if you don't get around to it very quickly, we will sue the hell out of you. And as soon as we got a police, or not a police, but a court document and showed him how serious we were, he yanked those antennas out of the vehicles and put the antennas back on top of the police cars where they belonged, either over the trunk of the vehicle if it was a car, or up on top of the roof of the SUVs. Okay, that's what we did. EMF killed my mother. I was not going to have another police officer die because this stupid police chief wanted to save a few dollars when our cars were turned in. when we got new cars. He thought by not having to punch a hole in the roof of a car that he'd save a few dollars and get some more dollars after selling the car, or from selling the car. I told him, you get those antennas out of the car or I'm going to sue your butt. And that's exactly what we did. And it worked. I believe we may have saved a lot of police officers' lives by what we did. And I'd do it again. I would do it again. Wolfman says, I'm so sick and tired of greed. I agree. It's all greed. It's all greed. And that's why I fight so hard against the USGS and any of the other agencies that continue to lie. That 6.2 over in Japan was a 6.4 earthquake, 20 times more powerful. And they lied about it. Joanne K says, that's why I won't have granite countertops. That's right. Get corian. Get quartz. Okay? Lama's Life says, I needed you, Ron, when I was threatened last summer to be arrested when I was protesting a Queen show. Oh, go ahead, make my day, guys. If Asheville believes that they're going to put a Queen show in front of children, I will be there and throw their asses on the ground. I'll be there and threaten to sue the hell out of them. Keep those drag queens out of our schools. They have no business going after our children. You want to get me mad? Oh yeah. Those drag queens going to our schools, I'll get furious. They'll have to hold me down and I will sue the hell out of those groups. They have no business doing that thing to our kids. No way. Yes, Lamb's Light says they did, and I said yes, they have. They've done it all over the country. But now, it's not going to happen anymore. There are now laws against it, all over this country. Speaking of that, you guys have heard a man's name named Jerry Epstein. Epstein's Island. What happened there? Okay? Jerry Epstein was a pervert. He was a pervert. He had a lot of federal clients, including Bill Clinton. The lawyers working the Epstein case, including the DOJ, the Department of Justice, would never release his client list. They knew it, they've seen it, but they would never release the list. Well, guess what? Other people now have that list. And guess what? Bill Clinton's Attorney General was one of Epstein's best friends. It's no wonder, it is no small wonder that the government is so involved with Jerry Epstein and all these other organizations that promote that crap to our children and are teaching that crap in the schools. Brokefish says YouTube trigger word subject. Yes, I know. I know that exactly right. It is. But I won't tolerate it. If you want to get me mad, that's a good way to do it. Wolfman says, why are these people still walking around in our presence? Oh, I agree. I agree. Anyway, guys, now it's 9:45. I've got to get out of here. You guys have been with me a long time. We have 114 thumbs up. Please, folks, share this program far and wide. Now we are over, we now have over 1,000 subscribers here on the Emergency Management Associates Network. I love it. We now have 1,040 subscribers plus. We're growing subscribers every day, and I love that. It's not just for subscribers, guys. That's not why I'm doing this. Yes, I want to see more subscribers, but there's a reason. The reason is simply this. The more people that get our message, the better. The more and more people that get our messages, the better. It's important that they get emergency messages such as preparedness and survival and news about what's going on in their lives, in their schools, in their corners. If we don't do it, our nation's done. Each and every member of our families are done. They're trying to break up our families. They're trying to destroy our families. Yes, I talk about this too. This is important. I do not want to see our families destroyed by anyone. Not any group, not any country, not anything, anywhere. Families is a center core to our country. Without our families, our countries won't function. None of our countries will function without our families, the central core of our country. Fact. So please, folks, make sure you subscribe and check your subscriptions, because YouTube is unsubscribing people. I would check your subscriptions at least once or twice every week, and when you do that, make sure you click on the notification bell, that little bell icon. Click on it, and when you click on it, a drop-down menu will appear of 3 items. Click on the word all, A-L-L. That should get you notified when we come on the air, but not always, because YouTube doesn't always notify everybody. Sometimes just a few people. Just be known. Tonight it didn't happen because I had some technical problems with the internet and such. Couldn't get on till almost 8 o'clock. But I'm here giving you information. It's important. It's Emergency Preparedness Friday. Folks, I love you and I care about you. That's why we're here. I want to spread the good information about the Lord as well. I talk about God every chance I get. I didn't used to do this on the air because I had a lot of people criticizing me. But I've come to find out I don't really care if they want to criticize me or not. It's none of their frickin' business. My business is to educate and bring people to emergency preparedness information and to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ. It's the Word of God. Tonight I'm going over to the Luke, the book of Luke in the New Testament. In Luke chapter 9, verse 25. For what is a man advantaged if he gain the whole world and lose himself or be cast away? For whosoever shall be ashamed of me and of my words, of him shall the Son of Man be ashamed. Unreal. When he shall come in his own glory and in his Father's and of the angels. But I tell you of a truth, there shall be some standing here which shall not taste of death, till they see the kingdom of God. And it came to pass about 8 days after these sayings, he took Peter, John, and James, and went up into a mountain to pray. And as he prayed, the fashion of his countenance was altered, and his raiment was white and glistening. And behold, there talked with him 2 men, which were Moses and Elias, who appeared in glory, and spoke of his decease which he should accomplish at Jerusalem. But Peter and they that were with him were heavy with sleep. And when they were awake, they saw his glory and the 2 men that stood with him. And it came to pass, as they departed from him, Peter said unto Jesus, Master, it is good for us to be here. And let us make thee 3 tabernacles, one for thee, and one for Moses, and one for Elias, not knowing what he said. Folks, the beginning of that last verse is important. It's important right here, right now, as well as before. And it is important all day long, every day. And it came to pass as he departed from him, Peter said unto Jesus, Master, it is good for us to be here. Master, it is good for us to be here. Brothers and sisters here tonight, it is good for us to be right here. This is where we belong. Brothers and sisters, I love you. I love you and I love your families. I love everybody. It is important that we share this word with everybody that we meet. Master, it is good for us to be here. Now, folks, tomorrow night, unless an emergency presents itself, we will not be on the air. If an emergency happens between now and the time we normally come on the air, which would normally be Monday night, we come on Sunday afternoon at 12 noon for Sunday school, Come Follow Me, the Savior said. Always on Sundays we will be here in Sunday school with Come Follow Me at 12 noon Eastern Time. But unless an emergency presents itself, we will not be doing Emergency Management Associates as we know it, either Saturday or Sunday. If something happens and changes, I will let you know and I'll come on the air. As soon as the information presents itself, I'll be here. I always have, always will. Now, folks, be it known right now. I love you. That's the reason I'm here. I care. I care about everybody. I love you all. May you have a wonderful night and a better tomorrow and a great weekend. Enjoy the sun. It was beautiful today. As I was driving, it was about 69, 70 degrees. It was great. It became 73 by this afternoon. It was a wonderful day. I'm glad to be here. It is good for us to be here. May God bless you. May God be with us each day, each and every day. May God bless us. May God hold us in His hands. I pray each and every day for each one of you that God will bless you and heal you and make your families better. I pray for each and every one of you. Recently, one of my best friends, Scooter Pie, had her mother get ill. And I've been praying for her mother ever since. I've been praying for many of you others here today because I care. May God bless you with those things that you stand in need of. I love you very much. Guys, have a great weekend. We will see you on the other side around the corner. Good night, everybody. Much love.